The National Park Service fired a missing man. Then it billed his widow with interest. Paul Fugate never came back. Break time, Oka 500 men's from Sunday. The Midnight Paradigm. Today, we reopen the case of Ranger Paul Fugate. Here at the Midnight Paradigm, we re-examine institutional judgment. Chiricahua's rhyolite spires rise over a forgotten desert monument. He patrolled these canyons alone most quiet Sundays. Before that afternoon, one witness would see something impossible. What that witness saw, the government chose not to believe. Paul married Dody in 1964 before wearing the badge. She followed him through Carlsbad Caverns, then Navajo, then here. Colleagues called him countercultural, ponytail, full beard, granny glasses. He'd fought a firing before, and won. January 13th, 1980, a cold, ordinary Sunday in the monument. Fugate was the only permanent ranger on duty. At 2 p.m., he told the seasonal clerk his plan. Back by 4:30, he said, or close without me. He walked toward Faraway Ranch, 400 recently acquired acres. He wore his gray uniform, his badge, his green jacket. He carried only his keys, no radio, no water. Back at his cabin sat $300, untouched. His gun collection, his camera gear, a truck mid-restoration. An unfinished life insurance application still lay on his desk. None of it, the cash, the guns, ever moved again. A month before vanishing, Fugate gave Murray a rifle. No explanation given. Murray told no one for years. By 4:30, the visitor center clerk noticed the silence. By nightfall, word had spread through Cochise County. What strikes us most, what he left behind untouched. By morning, this stopped being a missing hiker report. A multi-agency search began within hours. Sheriff, BLM, Forest Service. Search teams covered 12,000 acres of canyon and scrub. Tracking dogs worked the arroyos. Helicopters swept the ridgelines. Volunteers walked shoulder to shoulder through Chiricahua's stone corridors. They found no footprint, no thread, no blood, nothing. 12,000 acres, and the desert gave up no evidence. One judgment: absence of evidence is itself the evidence here. A trained ranger familiar with every trail simply vanished. Search efforts stretched from days into weeks, then years. Still nothing. The canyons kept whatever they knew. Then came the witness, a park employee driving nearby. He saw a dark green pickup, camper shell, moving fast. Slumped between two men sat someone matching Fugate's description. The witness reported it. Investigators asked him to say more. Under hypnosis, his memory sharpened. A plaid shirt, a beard. We must be honest, hypnotically refreshed memory is contested. Courts today would likely exclude testimony recovered this way. Yet it remains the only lead resembling an eyewitness account. The regional detective dismissed it outright. No follow-up, no corroboration. Think you know where this is going? Tell us below. Cochise County shares 80 miles of border with Mexico. In 1980, this corridor already carried smugglers and contraband. One theory, Fugate stumbled onto something he shouldn't have. Near Faraway Ranch, rangers found spin-out tracks in disturbed dirt. Signs, some said, of a struggle in the road dust. But the theory was never proven, only ever suggested. In 2014, another NPS employee was assaulted nearby. The danger this land posed, it seems, never fully left. We cannot confirm a connection. We can confirm the pattern. One theory among several, none ever closed the case. Murray carried that secret through interviews, then decades of silence. When he finally spoke, investigators had already closed their file. What did Paul know to give that weapon away? It's a detail investigators never formally logged or explained. The witness, the rifle, the tracks, 3 threads unresolved. Each pointed somewhere. None pointed to an answer. One judgment, 3 loose threads, and nobody pulled them. The National Park Service was about to answer anyway. Not an answer built from evidence, one built from paperwork. 13 months in, the agency stopped searching for him, and February 1981, NPS Director Howard Chapman ruled. Not that he was dead, not a victim. He ruled that Paul Fugate had voluntarily abandoned his post. The agency fired a man who had already vanished. This contradicts everything the search itself had established. No footprint proved abandonment, no sighting proved a new life. It treated an absence of evidence as a decision. Then came the second blow. Dody owed the government money. Roughly $6,900 in survivor benefits, the letter said. Repay it plus 11% interest within 20 days. She was told no appeal existed. The window had closed. This was an error. It was policy applied without mercy. For 6 years, Dody could not legally grieve her husband. Not dead, not missing, officially a man who had resigned. She organized search parties herself, funded by benefit concerts. She petitioned Senator Barry Goldwater's office directly for help. In our assessment, this was tunnel vision dressed as procedure. The system chose the explanation that closed its file fastest. In July 1983, a sheriff's official announced a break. New leads suggested Fugate had met a violent end. Arrests, he said, were imminent for more than one person. No arrests ever came. The breakthrough dissolved into silence. In 1986, the NPS finally ordered a real investigation. Senior investigator Pete Nye spent a week with every document, every witness statement, every search and rescue record re-examined. His conclusion: nothing supported voluntary departure, nothing ever had. The 1981 ruling was formally reversed, 6 years too late. Dody survivor benefits were finally approved, no apology attached. The system corrected itself. It just took 6 years. We call this the system working, slowly, at real cost. By then, the trail had gone cold for years. The witness, the rifle, the tracks, none reinvestigated. The paperwork was fixed. The disappearance remained unsolved. That's the paradox this case leaves behind, unresolved. An institution can admit its error and still answer nothing. The man is still gone. Only the record was corrected. So what does justice look like, arriving this late? One question still waits beneath all of this. Not what the paperwork said, what actually happened out there. That question is where we turn next. In June 2018, the NPS made one more move. They tripled the reward, $20,000 to $60,000. The reason given: unspecified new information. Nothing more released. That reward has sat unclaimed for years now. The rifle Murray received is still never explained. We may never know what Paul anticipated that month. The witness's hypnosis refreshed memory remains scientifically unreliable. We flag it as such, not settled fact. Paul Fugate remains the only NPS ranger ever to vanish. Not found, not confirmed dead, not accounted for, ever. 150 years of agency history, one open file. Federal agencies still lack clear missing employee protocols. Dozens of park staff have vanished briefly, unlogged since. Most resolved quickly. A handful, like Paul's, never did. Institutions, research shows, protect their paperwork before people. This case shows that same instinct in a different agency. The Charlie Project still lists this case as open. They must too. Anyone with information can still call it in. Dody Fugate, by most accounts, still lives in New Mexico. She never remarried. She kept his restoration truck for decades. A plaque for Paul now stands at the monument gate. Visitors still walk the trail he patrolled that Sunday. The nature trail toward Faraway Ranch remains open today. Somewhere in that terrain, an answer may still wait. Or the desert simply kept what it took, permanently. We don't know which. That honesty is the point. What we do know, The paperwork failed him first. Whatever happened out there, the institution answered wrong first. That's the real paradigm shift this case leaves us. Not who took Paul Fugate, who failed to look. So what would you have done with that bill? Drop your theory below, the witness, the smugglers, something else. This is based on public records, police reports, prior investigations. No detail here has been invented. Every claim is sourced. 45 years on, someone still waits for that call. That, more than any theory, is the quiet tragedy. This is the kind of case file we build weekly. Every case here follows evidence, not assumption, wherever it leads. If institutional failure interests you, our wrongful conviction files go deeper. Full breakdown of the witness testimony pinned in the comments. Next Friday, another cold case, another piece nobody expected. Subscribe, the next case file is already open.